set tables ready to spin. Place your bets, it's time to win. Tickets in hand, ready for cash. Feeling the rush as the seconds dash. Hit the like and subscribe, alright. Get along into the bright light. Unload the clip, don't be shy. Bangers hitting as the cash piles high. Whispers of victory in the air. Every punt, every pass we care. Saturday mornings can't compare to the thrill and the wins we share. Grin on my face, coffee cup.
Yes, sir. I gotta play that song again. I made this song last night, and it is just an absolute banger from the start to the finish. Let's go. Get the vibes going here. Get your coffee going. Take a moment. That's right. Come on.
College games on the screen all night long.
Get in the chat, guys. Get in the chat. Let's talk some ball today. Week 12. Week 12. That's right.
Coffee steam rising, can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with the coffee, can you, boys? Let's go. Get in the chat. Get in the chat. Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
Place your
go.
bets, it's time to win.
We're going to let it get to the banger, and then we're going to get going. As the chat starts rolling right now, look at Randy Smith in the building. He understands. He understands. Here we go. Right now. Let's go.
Hit the like and subscribe, alright. Get along into the bright light. Unload the clip, don't be shy. Bangers hitting as the cash piles high.
Oh, I got chills, baby. I got chills this morning. Let's take this down a little bit. Let's take this down. Let's take this down. Here we go. All right, that's going to do it. What's going on, everybody? It is Saturday mornings with Gunspicks. I am the host with the most, the point guard of podcast, and the self-proclaimed CFB GOAT himself. And we're here another Saturday morning. And man, do we have not the greatest card in the world, not the greatest matchups in the world, but we have games to bet on here. It's college football. We only have a few Saturdays left here, folks. We need to enjoy and bask in the glory that is college football. And we're going to do it today. I'm going to talk up and down the board. I'm going to go top 25. Of course, Connor McPicks is going to be joining us later in the show. And we're going to be banging here. But first, as always, we always start with we get the grinded up the beans. We put it in the little coffee maker, put a little water in the back of the machine. We hit the drip, drip, drip. And you know what that means. It is time for the cup of coffee parlay. Let's go. I'm not going to bring just one. I'm going to bring two for you guys. Double dose, double shot of espresso today with the cup of coffee parlay. Listen, this is the first one, and it's a conservative one at best. Probably one of the most conservative ones I've done all season. We got Colorado money line, Marshall money line, Air Force money line with Notre Dame money line, SMU money line, Penn State money line, Georgia Southern money line. We have Carolina money line as a slam spot here today, and Kansas State money line to end it off with a plus 691 parlay. And then I'm not going to just bring you one. I'm going to bring you two, baby. We're going to do the doggy parlay here. Courtesy of the Guns Picks. We got a ODU money line. I think that's the slam spot versus JMU today. I've talked about that on multiple shows, including Dabby's show just a few moments ago. Then we had Florida money line and Air Force money line for a plus 951 parlay today. And getting into the chat, and Randy just loves the song. I know. I think that's going to be, and sometimes I'm going to have guests, sometimes I don't, and I'm going to have to re-record and put the guest name in there as I always do. But that is probably, I was considering to myself as that is probably going to be the theme song for the Guns Picks Saturday mornings. That is just perfect. And I don't know if I should change the song anymore. You get into the chat. Tell me if I should do multiple songs or different songs every single week, or should I just go with that one to be the main song for Guns Picks in the morning? We're trying to bring the vibe down to a low level, a little soft rock, a little yacht rock. And we're going to talk about the top 25 slate right now. And listen, some of these games I'm not going to talk about today. If you want me to talk about Alabama and Mercer, get out of here. I'm not going to be talking about that game. There's a couple bad games on the board. Penn State playing Purdue. I don't feel like talking about that one. Let's start this off with Ohio State and Northwestern. Here's the deal. I mean, Northwestern, just an awful team. But you have Ohio State in a situation here. I'm seeing the lines actually drop. This thing opened up at minus 30.5. Now it's down to minus 28. I'm seeing 27.5 start to pop on the board. DraftKings has it at minus 27.5. Kind of giving you an indicator that, maybe the sharp side on this one is Northwestern, and I can't disagree with them there. The sole reason why I can't disagree with them is surely based on the fact that, Ohio State has a big game next week. They got to play Indiana. Actually, they got, Michigan is another big game that they got on deck as well. Maybe a double sandwich type of situation. Look ahead. Northwestern playing at home here. Big game for them. Actually, it's a neutral field today because it's going to be played at Wrigley Field. Hard to fit a football field into that stadium too. I think it's pretty narrow if you actually look at the layout. But I digress. I think this is probably going to be maybe a first half look here with Northwestern. I just think that if anything, Ohio State's going to come out flat early. And then maybe, get the smell and salts at halftime and then get back into the game. Tough spot here for Ohio State, in my opinion, just because what they have on deck. They have two major games that have playoff implications on the line, this one not being one of them. So, yeah, if I had to lean on this one, I'd probably just go first half on Northwestern and then move on. Not an official play for me. It's a game I'm completely ignoring, not putting a coin on. But if you need a lean, that's where I would go with this one today. Okay, next game on the board. I'm wearing the hat with this Texas and Arkansas. And the line to me, I was just like, I don't understand why Arkansas is getting disrespected here. I'm seeing 12, 13, 13.5 on the board, 13.5 on DraftKings, 13.5 at Circa. This line opened at minus 15. The over and under opened at 56. Did get pushed up a little bit. I just don't understand this line. Why is Arkansas a team that plays well at home, a team that plays well as a double-digit dog, going up against a Texas team that really, to me, unimpressive so far as their biggest game of the year was Georgia, and Georgia beat them 30-15, dominated them. Not in the yardage per se. Yardage was pretty even in that game, but that was their biggest game of the year, and they lost. Of course, they beat Florida last week. Florida 49-17, but that was without DJ Lagway in that game. He did get hurt, and actually, he didn't even get hurt. He didn't play in that game because he had a hamstring issue, and they wanted to keep him out and keep him rested for the game that is going to come up today. We'll talk about that one in a second, but this spot leans towards the Arkansas side to me. I want to take, you have Sam Pittman at home as a dog versus a Texas team that I don't know. Texas to me, they got Kentucky and A&M left. I think their biggest game of the year is the last game versus A&M, playoff implications on the line in that one too. But yeah, if I had to take this one, I'd probably say Arkansas is probably going to stay with them today. I don't know why the line is so big, but I'm not going to be laying points with Texas here on the road versus an Arkansas team that has proven over and over again that they play well as a double-digit dog. So, yeah, it is Arkansas pass for me unofficially. All right, next game on the board. We're just flying through this. If you're watching this now, you're watching this later, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the GunzPicks channel. I give this information out for the low price of $0.00. And all I ask you to do is hit a couple buttons. You hit the thumbs up, you hit the bell, and you subscribe to the channel. There's 3 clicks right there. Boom, boom, boom. If you do that, that's all I ask from you guys. It's just support GunzPicks and everything he's doing here on the channels. And also check out all the shows that we do. Of course, the Extra Points playing tomorrow. And I'm going to do the prop gun that's coming back. A little bit of a cold streak on the prop gun, I'll be honest. But I'm 16-8 on the props this year on video plays. And I'm going to give it one out tonight. So go check that out at GunzPicks channel. All right, next game on the board here. Actually, a game I'm willing to talk about here is Utah versus Colorado. Colorado. You know what? I think I've conceded a little bit for my biased of this this team. They're actually playing really well. Of course, the offense is thumping along on this one. Just trying to get to my notes here as I'm stalling, trying to find the game because I know I wrote it up. There we go. Okay, so you have them 7-2 on the year, and they're 5-1 in conference. They're just absolutely thumping along. Plus 9 point differential, plus 31 net yard average. You're actually, I'm impressed with them. I gotta say, a hand up, Dion. You're doing a great job there at Colorado. Probably going to end up somewhere in Florida State, once they fire their coach, who knows? We'll see what happens in the offseason. But you have Utah on a 5-game losing streak, and they're a falling knife. I think they're on their 4th quarterback today, and they're coming off the Holy War loss, right? 22-21. Kind of got ripped off a little bit in that one. Referee decisions on that one to get BYU the victory. But I think they should move forward. But you can lose the same game twice, especially in a rivalry game. And what does Colorado want to do? They want to pass the ball. They're pass-oriented offense, ranked 2nd in pass completion percentage, 34th in pass yards per play, 8th in passing yards per game, and they're 15th in the country in INTs thrown percentage. So this offense is what is cooking for them. And they're going against a Utah pass defense that is 2nd in opposing pass completion percentage, because a lot of teams don't, they don't give up a lot in the passing game, and they're 23rd in passing yards per play. But look at the passing offenses that they've faced, okay? This number is a little bit misleading. They faced Arizona, who's 72nd in pass completion percentage and 68th in passing yards per play. They faced Arizona State. Arizona State is 120th in pass play percentage. They don't pass the ball, they run the ball. And then TCU, good passing team, right? They put up TCU actually put up 263 yards of total offense in that game, and that's the highest pass total that Utah has given up all season long. And they face Houston. Houston is is a run first offense, and then BYU, they're 107th in pass completion rate. They don't like to pass the ball either. So Utah is also, they're hurt in the QB position right now. And I think they might be on their 4th quarterback, like I said before. They're going against a Colorado team that is 7-1 ATS versus FBS opponents this season, 6-0 ATS versus conference opponents. This is the highest spread that Colorado has seen all year as a favorite. And then you have Utah 1-3 ATS on the road this year, 2-5 ATS versus conference opponents. Utah does own the history, so there is a revenge angle here. They've won 7 straight versus Colorado. They're 5-2 ATS in that mark. Last year, Colorado was a 20.5-point road dog, though, versus Utah, and they lost 23-17. That was a close game. And now you're seeing him, this Colorado team, as a double-digit favorite here. It's Colorado all day long. I got it at -10. I would take it. Anything under 14 is fine on this one. I noticed that the line did go up this morning. As I'm trying to find it here, I don't think I'm seeing it. But at any rate, whatever the line is on this one, as long as it's below 14, I think you're going to be fine on this one. So yeah, it's Colorado or pass for me on that particular game. As we get back into the chat, they're on their 5th string quarterback. I'm sorry, I thought it was 4th. I wrote down 3rd on my notes, and then I wrote down 4th. I can't keep track of how many quarterbacks this Utah team is going after. It's not good, good vibes there for the Utes this season. This guy was going to start, got mono, Colorado by 1 million. There you go. So listen, he said it. Nick Dow said it. I don't think there's any position here that you want to fade Colorado. Colorado has just proven over and over again that they're a covering team no matter what the spread is, and I'm going to continue to treat them as a play on team as we get in here. I see C-Mac in the waiting room. We'll see if when he's ready to come on, he'll pop in. Let's go to the next game on the board here. This is an interesting one because the starting quarterback for Pittsburgh is listed as out for this game. I saw that this morning that he wasn't going to play. Eli Holstein looks like he's going to be held out, so they're going to be going with Nate Yarnell. He's got a 30 for 48, 62.5% pass completion rate, 5 touchdowns, 2 INTs. Not bad statistics there for Yarnell. He played against Youngstown State. He played against Kent State, and he's got some reps with Syracuse, SMU, and Virginia as well. So I'm looking at his numbers versus Virginia. He had 4 for 12 for 44 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. So not the highest of highs here with Pittsburgh currently. And Pittsburgh's kind of a falling knife. They were kind of fool's gold, going into the SMU game undefeated. And we took SMU for a reason as a slam spot at home for the Mustangs, and they dominated them. So this Pittsburgh team is a little bit misleading as far as how they played this year. And of course, losing to Virginia last week, 24-19 at home. I don't see much of a I think Clemson's just going to thump this team. That's kind of the indication I got. They got no look ahead at all. They got the Citadel next week, and then they end the season with South Carolina. So the look ahead is Citadel, not this spot at all. And you just got this team in one loss in conference here for Clemson, two losses on the other side for Pittsburgh. So I think Clemson's probably the spot here. Nothing I'm going to be officially taken, but I'm not going to fade Clemson and versus Pittsburgh with a backup quarterback playing in this game at all. All right. But let's for all those guys that missed it, I see 170 of you beautiful bastards joining me now. Hit the like button while you're at it. But I'm going to replay for you guys the cup of coffee parlay because I got two bangers and I want to make sure that everybody in the chat gets it. Yes, sir. In the cup of coffee parlay, number one, we got Colorado money line, Marshall money line, and Air Force money line. I think Air Force is in a good spot versus Oregon State today, so I wouldn't mind taking just the full game on Air Force. Notre Dame money line, SMU money line, Penn State money line, Georgia Southern money line, and South Carolina money line, Kansas State money line at plus 691. You can go find that on FanDuel. And then we got two for you today. We got ODU money line, Florida money line, Air Force money line. And that is the dog parlay of the end. 3-teamer plus 951. You can get that on FanDuel as well. All right. Next game on the board here as we take a breath. Tulane versus Navy. This Tulane team, shoo, they're impressive. Numerically, they've done very well in conference. They're going against a Navy team that I exactly faded versus Notre Dame, and ever since then, you've seen the onion start to peel back on this Navy midshipman team, and reality starting to set in as they go down the board. But they're playing them at home. So going through this game as I'm trying to pop the line up on it, it looks like it is opened at -6. Now it's -7, 7.5 on the board. You can find sevens pretty much everywhere though. Leaning towards the Tulane side. I got to be honest with you. I just think this Tulane team, even though they're going on the road, even on the road, they have a pretty high point differential. Average score, they're putting up 42 points per game on the road. And they're only giving up 25. So if anything, lean to maybe a good indicator for a high total on this one. And then at home with Navy, they actually play pretty well at home. Granted, they've averaged it looks like 49 points per game at home this year. But those numbers a little bit inflated, of course, playing Memphis, Temple, Bucknell, and looks like Charlotte as well. These are, Charlotte gives up a lot of points. They put the woodshed to Charlotte putting up 51 points, 56 versus Memphis, 38 versus Temple. But the Tulane defense, pretty strong. They've high indicators that they've really held teams to like well below their pay grade, especially at home. On the road, they gave up 50 yards less than their opponent's season average. So look for this defense to be thumping. And of course, what does Navy want to do? They want to run the ball. They run the triple option, 5.6 yards per carry, and they're going against a defense that gives up 4.1, 4.5 on the road. So maybe this team is going to find their strength on the run. I know they gave up 215 to Kansas State. Kansas State kind of a high run team as well. So some of these high run teams, they gave up 5.5 yards per carry to Charlotte, 4.4 last week to Temple. So maybe we're going to be seeing some giveaways here with the run game with Navy, maybe a high scoring event, lean towards the over. And it's tough for me to take Navy as a dog at home. I don't really want to touch the side at all. Probably lean towards the total, maybe even like a team total over would be kind of a good one there for Tulane, because I think they're going to be scoring a lot of points in this game. So I would say high scoring game on both sides, lean towards the over, and maybe the team total over would be a nice look there for Tulane. All right, my boys are playing today in South Bend, Indiana, and we are excited for it. I'm wearing the jersey, not wearing the hat, but this is an interesting line because you have Notre Dame as a heavy favorite versus Virginia, and I thought to myself, Virginia is not a bad team, right? I'm seeing 22s, 21.5. So it looks like it's starting to dip now from the opening line at 22.5. The way I wanted to take this, and I don't think full game was the way to go. I think they got a little bit of a look ahead with Army coming up on deck. But I don't see them losing this game. I kind of see this as a position for Notre Dame to come out swinging in the first half, and then maybe pump the brakes a little bit, rest some guys, and then you could have a backdoor type of situation at the end of this one. It's too big of a line for me to take on the full game. But when I look at this Notre Dame defense, man, they've been playing really well, only giving up 275 yards of total offense this season. They don't give up anything in the passing game. They gave up 149 yards per game to opponents, 47.8 pass completion rate. And this is a Virginia offense that wants to pass the ball. I mean, they put up 254 yards per game in the passing. Their run game is kind of anemic in a lot of the cases. They only put up 68 rushing yards versus Clemson, and they only put up 7 yards versus North Carolina. I mean, that is bad. So maybe in the run game, you're not going to get much out of this Virginia team, and they're going against a really good defense, maybe possibly the best defense they've faced all year. I think it's a good spot here to be taking the first half, though, with Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to come out here firing, scoring points, and then they're going to pump the brakes at the end. I think the first half look, and when you look at the first half performance between Notre Dame and Virginia, I believe Notre Dame is like number 5 in the country in the power rankings for that, and then Virginia is 50th as far as first half performance goes. So you have a mediocre first half team versus a strong first half team with Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame first half is the way I would treat this on Saturday. And we're just waiting for C-Mac to pop in, seeing if he's ready to go. Turn the camera on. We'll see. He's ready to go. Okay. So, he's ready to go. I'm going to bring him in right now. And then we have the guy, you've seen him on Hitting the Books. You've seen him with Bobano Bets. They break down the card like efficiently during the week in 2 parts. They also put out clip videos too for you guys to feast on, but they break down every single game efficiently, effectively, and they always have opinions. Give it up for my man, Connor Mack. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Oh, wait, there you go.
Can you give me 1 sec? I just have to put in a couple bets.
Okay, got
it. Okay, right. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, you know what? This is why when you're producing your own show and you're doing everything efficiently, moving around, sometimes I didn't know he was not ready. That is on me. All right, let's go into the next play though. This is one that I talked about with Dabby this morning. So if you're hearing it again, I apologize. But I like this game here with Boston College going up against SMU. SMU playing in Dallas, Texas. They're playing at home. That is where they play their best ball. And when you break down this game, you have SMU team coming off a bye, 6 in a row. They've won 6 in a row too. They're 8-1 on the year, and this is a team that has playoff implications on the line week to week. They don't have like big opponents left, but they need to slam teams right now. And then you got BC coming off a win versus Syracuse, high and mighty, lost 3 out of the last 4 games, and they're 5-4 in the year. You have SMU. They've done well at home this season, 4-1 straight up in ATS, and this is the largest spread as a favorite that they've seen versus FBS opponents at home. So that gives you a little bit of a high indicator of what they think about this SMU team today. 24 point differential at home this year with a plus 89 net yard average. And BC, they're just better at home than they are on the road. Minus 6 point differential, minus 62 net yard average on the year. Conference play on the road. Road teams versus SMU on the road versus in conference, minus 15.5 point differential. And that was like Virginia Tech, those games. So this is a perfect spot here for SMU. And then you got BC prefers to run the ball than they do passing the ball. They're ranked 18th in the country in rush play percentage, 18th in rushing attempts as well. They're also they're going against an SMU team on defense that is right in their pocket. Six in opposing rushing yards per carry and yards per game. This is a good SMU rush defense. And on the offensive side, they can beat you with the pass. They can beat you in the run. And BC probably susceptible more towards the passing game. They're 86 in opponent passing completion rate and 116th in the country in yards per game. And Tommy Castanalo, he's gone. He's actually like threatened to transfer or something like that. I know he's coming back from an injury. But they're going with the quarterback, Grayson James. If you know anything about him, he's an FIU transfer. but he's only had one start, 279 yards of total offense in that game, minus 46 net yards, and that was against Western Kentucky. They only beat him by one. G5 team. This is a step up in class for this guy. And then at SMU, just at home, 9-2 ATS since 2023, and they're 4-1 ATS at home this season. So this is a must take for SMU. This is one of those playoff implications week to week. They're just building their resume right now, and they need to thump another team, and it might as well be BC that, quite frankly, kind of in shambles right now. Also, don't forget revenge angle here for SMU, because they played in a bowl game at Fenway Park. I think it was called the Fenway Bowl. I can't keep track of all these bowl names anymore, but they lost 23-14. It's 12.5-point favorite. So that's got to stick in their craw a little bit. So yeah, Mustangs all day. I got it at minus 17.5. I'm seeing 18.5 on the board. That's the way I would go with this one. BC and SMU. All right. As we go down the board, make sure you hit the like button for the GunzPicks channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, hit all the buttons there. So we could be in the algorithm of all algorithms that the sports betting community deems fit on YouTube. That's how you can support me on a daily basis here on the GunzPicks channel. And also check out the show, 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. We got the Extra Point Show. We're going to break down the NFL with the Shark, and it's going to be a great weekend for us. I can't wait to share all the plays in the NFL with you guys tomorrow. All right. Next play on the board. Actually, we're getting back in the chat. He says, yeah, BC is a mess. I talked about it last night. I know, Peter, I'm probably repeating myself with you, but yeah, it's a slam spot here for SMU. No question about it. All right. Next game on the board here. Actually, you know what? I do have an opinion on this game, and I haven't really talked about it on any of the shows yet. I have it on my list as a write-up, so I do have some talking points when it comes to this game. LSU coming off, I guess, a soul-crushing loss last week. Playoff implications on the line, and they played Alabama, and Alabama just thumped them. It just a back-to-back thumpings with playoff implications on the line. LSU and Brian Kelly just fall flat yet again. Back-to-back losses. A&M versus Bama, 6-3 on the year. And they're going against a Florida team that is off back-to-back losses to themselves. They lost to Georgia and Texas. Pretty strong teams, in my opinion. They're 4-5 on the year. Florida was on a run for a while until they hit that UGA game, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that the quarterback DJ Lagway got hurt. He had a hamstring issue, and now you're seeing him sit out during the Texas game. Of course, Texas came out and just boat raced them. But he's going to be ready for this game, so having him back in the lineup is a boost for that offense. And they're going to, if you know anything about DJ Lagway, he's a mobile quarterback. He runs the ball efficiently. LSU has struggled versus mobile quarterbacks this season. You want to break it down versus South Carolina. LSU gave up 243 rushing yards in that game, 5.9 yards per carry. And that was a South Carolina team that had them on the ropes and let them off the hook. It was one of their rare losses of the year. And then Ole Miss, they gave up 180 rush yards in that one, even though that was a win for LSU. That was right down to the wire. And then, of course, A&M. A&M put up 240 rushing yards against them, 4.9 yards per carry, and A&M thumped them. And then Bama last week, they gave up 311 rushing yards to them, 6.5 yards per carry. So when you all break it down, all said and done, LSU is 1-3 ATS versus mobile quarterbacks this season, and they're going to have one today with DJ Lagway. And LSU coming off back-to-back losses that knocked them out of the college football playoffs. So this is crushing two teams. This is your season is basically considered over at this point. LSU probably had high hopes for their season to be in the college football playoff, especially with the expansion. And now you see them completely a shell of themselves. And I think we're going to see it here today. And you're going against a Florida team that is 5-1 ATS and are coming off an ATS loss versus Texas last week. And then you have a 5X revenge angle here with Florida, 53-35 loss last season to LSU. They're 15-point road dogs in that situation. Now you see them at home, short dog in the swamp. Home team in this spot, 4-2 ATS in the last 6 meetings. And these two teams, when they meet, like I said, six in a row, 4-2 ATS, and the over has hit in the last 6 meetings. If you want to go look at some high-scoring events here, we might have one here today. I'm taking Florida because they're seeking revenge. Their quarterback is back, and it will be ready to play versus an LSU team that has nothing left to play for. I only took Florida. You get it at +4, +3.5 are on the board now. So, yeah, I think it's a Florida spot. Might as well sprinkle on the money line here today with the Gators. going now. He's ready to go. We're going to bring him in now. You've seen him on Hitting the Books with Bobana Betts, who's been on this show as well. He is a regular here on the Saturday mornings with GunzPicks. It is my man, building. What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
What up? Guns, how are we?
Man, I'm good. I'm caffeinated. I pissed excellence when I woke up this morning, and I'm ready to thump. We were just talking about the LSU and Florida game. Do you have any thoughts on this one, or should we keep it moving along?
Yeah, I think it's Florida or nothing here. I really don't want LSU. LSU's kind of beat up on them, like you talked about the last few years. But if Lagway can play, I mean, all I've seen the last 2 weeks, this team can't stop a mobile quarterback. They can run just a little bit. Like, I mean, it's just like line it up, run the option, and just run around them. I mean, they are just and the defense looks like the LSU defense of last year that was just horrible and getting gashed. I think this right around the 56. I think there's points here. I don't know. I don't see how there isn't. I think it's over. And I think Florida can win this game.
Yeah, and it's really going to come down, and you could have some unlucky elements there. Of course, we know DJ Lagway coming off a hamstring injury. How healthy is that hamstring? I assume it's going to be fine because they rested him last week for a reason, right?
I think so too. And I mean, everything I've seen is he's the go because that's what I was waiting at. Like he's feeling good. That's all the reports that I've looked at.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's Florida pass on this one. Like I said, I like Florida +4 and sprinkle in the money line. 3.5s there now. But I think that's a high indicator as the numbers going down right now. Seeing threes. There's 3.5s out there. It's getting down to 3, so it's getting past that key number. If you got to grab it, you got to grab it now. I think by kickoff of this game at 3:30, we may see 3s coming off the board. But this is Florida or pass. Next game on the board. This is a game that I have an opinion on too. We have Missouri. Sources say, and I will have to look to see if that has any indicator on the line that it looks like Brady Cook may try to play in this game. He's coming back from a hand injury or a wrist injury. And they said on game day before I started this show that he was going to try to give it a go today. Game time decision. This game does kick off at 4:15, so maybe a little bit time on that one. But from my opinion, I don't care if it's Brady Cook. I don't care if it's Ian Book. I don't care if it's Chef Boyardee, whatever cook you want. It's going to be South Carolina or pass for me. Any thoughts on this game, Connor?
It's just, what I couldn't get there in this because the Cook, whether he's in or out, I think it'd be better, but how effective will he be? And Pine, there's no way to take him. He looked awful last week, Guns. Yeah. And then the whole disastrous, crazy fucking last 2 minutes. I was on the under, so I could talk about it. I mean, it was 16-9 with about a couple minutes left in the game. And there was 35 points in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Holy shit. Yeah, so if he's in, I'd kind of lean under in this game. Right now, it's like, how do you go against South Carolina? But this is kind of right where in years past they're playing well in a home game like this. And then you lay something like this over 10 points. I just don't want to do it. I'm off here. I got to be out of here. I lean under.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the South Carolina side on this one. I mean, it's a 5x revenge spot here for South Carolina as well. They lost 24-12 to them on the road. Missouri, they were 7.5 point road dogs, and the line has flipped, made them a double-digit favorite. Granted, that had to do with the quarterback situation with Missouri. But if Cook can't play and they have to go with the backup, I saw him last week and he was unimpressive. And you've seen them on the road, Missouri's defense. At A&M, they gave up 512 yards of total offense, minus 256 net yards in that game. Bama, they gave up 486 yards of total offense and minus 247. So every time this team goes on the road versus a ranked opponent, this team just absolutely falls apart in shambles. And the line has dropped to where I bought it at earlier in the week, remarkably enough, because I'm seeing 12.5s, 12s on the board. And it opened at 12, so I think it's dropping on the news that Cook is going to play. So that's basically the reason. But you have to understand, he's not 100%. Who knows what's trying to throw the ball with a bad wrist. That I suspect that he may not either he's not going to go, or he's going to go into that game and then something's going to happen. He's going to take a hit, and then next thing you know, they're going to the backup. I'm on South Carolina. I got it minus 12.5. That's the way I'm going to play this one.
Real quick on this, just with Pine in that Alabama game, awful. And last week he had those couple touchdowns, right? And that craziness. Still didn't have many yards, but that Alabama game, watch that whole game. He's 6 for 12, and he came 42 yards and 3 picks. Just man, it has been rough. Look for one thing I've been cashing all year is with Sanders rushing prop. I've took it 2 or 3 times. The guy just keeps he's just been money for South Carolina. So look for that prop in this game.
Yeah, good look there. If you can get into the prop market, of course. It's funny because I was talking to Shark about the prop market, and someone asked me, a guy I know actually asked me if he goes, well, are they going to put props on regular books like FanDuel and like, because you can't really get like player props in college football unless you go to an offshore book. I go, if they do that, you're going to have some fat drunk idiot at a South Carolina game screaming at Sanders for not getting over his rushing yards. And then then it's on his Twitter and he's just getting harassed. And all these players are 19, 20-year-old kids. It's like, if you open the prop market to college players, you're just setting a recipe for disaster as far as the, death threats these guys could get if they don't hit over their props.
Well, here it's becoming an issue. They might want to get away with it, college basketball, but like William Hill, the big offer, which is legal here in Vegas, that's just big, has merged with Caesars. So Vegas, you never got any props. So now there's props on all these games, on all the college guys and all their props for the most part. And then now FanDuel, like even that, which is legal in every state except Nevada, that and DraftKings. So there are those props. Missouri, good run defense. Real quick, I wanted to see it. His yards only at 80. I still think he could get it today. He's just been that much of a workhorse this year. And last week, kind of just 15 carries, 126 yards. Just ho-hum. Not even a 20 carry day. So I think he can get that 80.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Some good looks there on the Missouri and South Carolina games for myself. And of course, Connor Mac Picks. You can go find him on XC Mac Picks on X. You can go check that out, and also check out his show Hitting the Books on YouTube with Bobano Bets. I said it right this time. I didn't say book it. I think I screwed that up like last week or week. I can't remember.
Book it.
Yeah. Book it. Yeah.
Yeah. Book it.
Yeah. Terrible on my part. Hand up. That was on me. We got Boise State going on the road to go face San Jose State. This Boise State team sitting pretty right now as the lone G5 member in the college football playoff. Only one loss, which was a close one versus Oregon this year, and they're moving right down the board. They got back-to-back road games to finish, and then Oregon State to finish off the year. But this is a weird spot because, with San Jose State, they're 6-3, but they're a double-digit dog here to a Boise team. I was questioning this line as I'm seeing 14.5 hit the board as it opened at 14. I'm perplexed by the line because I've been betting San Jose State. I bet them last week, told you they're going to win outright, and that happened. Now they're going to go against a Boise State team that is just humming along. They came off a close win versus Nevada last week, but I have nothing on this game. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I looked at this, a few times this week, this game, and dug in, and I think you should look at San Jose State. Boise's got a pretty easy rest of the way here. So it's not like they got a big game coming up. I think they're at Wyoming, and then they finish at Oregon State. Is that correct here?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Boise, the offensive, the numbers are crazy. We know Genty, and if you look at all their rankings, 496, a game, 7.2 yards per play. They've just been money. The San Jose State defense is all right. If this is similar, if they score here a little bit, which I don't think this Boise State defense is great. They're pretty good. Like this is kind of like the Hawaii game for me. That ended up 28-7. That, of course, that doesn't get you here. But I think San Jose State at home, look, they haven't played anybody good at home, but they're 4-0. this team's hungry. I think they can move the rock. They got a great wide receiver. I'm going to take the 14.5 here with San Jose State. Give me them here at home. I think this is kind of the last tough game scare here for Boise State.
Yeah, and Boise State's got UNLV next week too. So I mean, they got a good homestand here. This is game 1 of the homestand, and yeah, you're playing a big opponent. So the motivation you would think is on the home side on the dog. 14.5. Wow. I mean, I think the line functionality when I looked at this game, because these two teams, pretty much meet every single. I guess this was the last.
They played some tight games.
They played some tight games. I mean, last year was 35-27. They were 9.5-point dogs on that one. On the road, and now they're a bigger dog at home, which I was like, why are they a bigger dog at home from year 1 to year 2? Kind of gave me like, oh, maybe this is a Boise spot. I just couldn't get there. I can't talk you off the 14.5 look though, because San Jose State as a dog at home, they've performed. So, and Boise really has more to lose than San Jose State does right now. So who's got the motivation? San Jose State probably.
Yeah. Oh, I think they do. Yeah. Like shit. We're 6 if we were at home, or 2. We got nothing to lose with more pressures on Boise. And I remember that game last year, Guns. San Jose State on the road at Boise was up big, like 27-7, and Boise ripped off 4 straight touchdowns, like in the fourth quarter. It was something like that, and then they lost by a touchdown. So just kind of kicked their ass late. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, it'll be a good one there. At San Jose State in the night slate. All right, here's another game. I actually wrote this up this morning, so I do have some thoughts on it. Arizona State going on the road facing Kansas State. Of course, Kansas State coming off a bye week and off a loss to Houston of all teams. Kind of a terrible spot there for Kansas State, but they're back home in Bill Snyder Stadium facing a 7-2 Arizona State team that I don't know how good this team is on paper, really, but we'll see here in Manhattan, Kansas. You have any thoughts on this one, C-Mac?
I thought this game was tough. I mean, the one spot where I want to trust K-State here is at home, I think, in this spot. Absolutely. And it's showing here with the line after the shitty loss, the bye week. I think like this is, if you want to lay it here, the 7.5, this is it. And I think you're going to get people biting with Arizona State. Play pretty good football all year, decent road games, and maybe they can hang in this one. Limit turnovers. It's always big, especially in college. We know that. I mean, it's bit me more than ever this year, Guns, and some teams that I've been on that have had 5 turnover games that I couldn't remember, where I'm just like, holy shit. It drove me nuts. So if they take care of the ball, Scadable's a great running back. Levitt's a decent quarterback. But I think their defense gets worn down. And one thing, K-State's made great adjustments at halftime. They've been a very good second half team too. So if this game's tight, maybe look to take them live here.
I like that. I like that look there. Yeah, with the adjustments. But two things on this one. This is why I like the Kansas State side. Is one, they're coming off a loss. Every time they come off a loss, they've done very well. They're 10-2-1 ATS off a loss dating back to 2021. They're also 15-6 ATS as a home favorite too. I thought those were pretty strong numbers, and it really shows. They've dominated at home this year with a plus 21 point differential, and they're plus 132 net yard average in the last 4 games. And then Arizona and Kansas State's going to want to run the ball. They're actually starting to pass the ball a little bit more. I was pretty impressed with them on the pass game as of late, but in their run-oriented offense, and they're going against an Arizona State defense that is 4.1 yards per carry given up to opponents this season, and 4.4 yards per carry given up in their last 4 games. I think, when you look at bounce back, Kansas State's the best at it, and they play so well at home. It's 7.5 right now. And I know it's over the key number 7. It doesn't matter to me. I always look at college lines as loose slots anyway. So the line, it just fits perfectly. I think Kansas State comes in here and thumps them. Unfortunately, a 7-2 team is a 7.5 point dog to another 7-2 team. To me, is a high indicator that we should be taking the home team. So yeah, Kansas
exactly
State, that one.
Yeah, and Arizona State 7-2 ATS too, which and a Kansas State team that's been pretty shitty against 3-6 against the number. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. And it's very telling. And they're well rested. They're healed their wounds, and they're going to come in here. And you got a West. In like I said on Nabby's show, every time this team goes and has to cross a time zone and play a team on the road, they've lost. Cincy 24-14, and they lost to Texas Tech 30-27. So I'm sorry, 30-22. So I know they beat Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State is a dumpster fire and in shambles. So I think it's only Kansas State for me on that one. Next game on the board, we have Oregon going to go play at Camp Randall. Speaking of a team that's got a big target on their back, it's the Oregon Ducks, but they're cruising along, winning games left and right, considered the number 1 team in the country. I think that is fool's gold. I see them at number 4 if I had to power rate them. But they're playing a Wisconsin team that, not the greatest season for them, but they're a double-digit dog here at home. I'll start with you, C-Mac. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think there is a big bullseye on the back for Oregon. They've taken care of business so far, but I think they need to look out here tonight. I mean, if they have the talent to win this and cover, I think this game, of course. But if there's ever Wisconsin for them here, I think this is it. Night game, Camp Randall. I mean, the quarterback play isn't great here, but they're off the bye. I think they can have a solid game. Locke, he looked pretty good there for a little bit, but right before the last couple games looked awful. Just looked kind of like the old self that he was. A couple picks. I think the Wisconsin defense is good. They're not great. They have a decent secondary that I think. I think they can hang in this game. I haven't bet it yet, guys. I've been looking at Wisconsin all week. I think they're the move. Oregon's just continued to win, and they haven't had really anything since the beginning of the year where they were a bit sloppy, and those were home games, Boise State and Ohio State. So this one could be tough, especially if they have a few turnovers. So I was looking at Wisconsin. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. And I was actually going, how did I miss this cap? I think I might be writing this up and actually making this official today. But I think it's Wisconsin plus 14 and a half. You can find it out there. The reason why I say that is I looked at their schedule, and they got a big game on deck. And you consider, maybe not as big as it was last year, but it's still a big game nonetheless. I got to play Washington next week. Now, if you know what happened to them last year, 2 times this team came in there and beat Oregon, including the conference championship that kicked them out of the college football playoff picture. Yeah. So there is some, they're out for blood next week when they have to play them at home. This is a weird travel spot, another weird travel spot for a Big Ten team. A West Coast team going to go to Wisconsin at night. Camp Randall, jump around is going to be thumping in the third quarter. This is a bad environment for Oregon. I'm not going to say they're not going to escape a win here, but I think this Wisconsin team is going to fight with them tooth and nail. And it's just a bad situational spot here. Last road game of the season for Oregon, and then they got Washington on deck. I think this is only a Wisconsin spot, and I'm probably going to be official on this one and just take Wisconsin after the show. I'm taking it. This is an official Wisconsin plus 14. Give it to me all day long.
Beautiful.
Let's go to the next game on the board. We're getting into the late games here, so I don't know. I skipped a couple of the games here. Louisville versus Stanford. You got anything on that game?
No, you know what? I'm reading everything. Stanford's off this bye. They're ready to go. They think they're going to give this upset. This fucking team has done it for years now. Guns. They've been pathetic. They've been pathetic at home. I haven't been able to trust them. And even double-digit dogs catching 2-3 touchdowns. This offense can look so bad and anemic at times. That I think you take them or nothing. I just couldn't get there. What about you?
I'm with you on that one. Stanford is just you can't trust them. Even when you think it's the right time to trust them in a situational spot here. This is the third leg of a road trip here for Louisville too. They had to go to BC, Clemson, and now that they have to go all the way to the West Coast to play Stanford. These are the spots you want to take the dog at home, but like you said, can't trust Stanford. Stanford will just, absolutely show you why they are a 20 plus point dog to an ACC team. And yeah, I can't touch this Stanford team with a 10-foot pole. That's what it's the exact reason why I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about that game, because I just thought it was gross. I hate.
But you're right. The perfect letdown, though, real quick. BC and Clemson, like the biggest wins they've had, the biggest win they've had.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they are though off a bye. They did have the week off, so I guess that's kind of the good thing if you like Louisville here, that it wasn't right after that 3 straight consecutively on the road. But man, I'd love to take Stanford here. It's
so gross. If you want to take Stanford, go ahead. I was like, plug your nose and hope for the best. But yeah, I'm not touching this game at all. Seeing if there's other games. I'm not going to talk about Bama and Mercer. This is kind of like a semi bye week for some of these SEC teams. Clemson and Pittsburgh. I don't think I talked about that one. Oh, actually, I did. I forgot about that one. But do you have any thoughts on this game, C-Mac?
No. I think this is the game Clemson could win. Quarterback Holstein's out, right?
Yes, it was announced this morning. Yeah, on game day.
Yeah,
he's out for sure.
Yeah, this seems like Pitt starts out 7-0, back-to-back losses. Look, it took Clemson last week at halftime to get going. They win by 10. So, and they're not. I think Clemson wins here. I don't know. I really like going crazy here to lay it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not in a position right now. I know like Clemson. Yeah, it's a Clemson or pass for me. I'm just not. I don't know much about the backup quarterback situation, so there's a lot of outliers in there. Of course, Holstein isn't playing, but this Pittsburgh team is kind of fool's gold right now, and it's showing back-to-back losses. They really haven't played good ball. And
Yarnell's not good. The backup, just to let you know, he's not good.
Yeah, so Clemson or pass. I think Clemson wants to go out here and prove something, and Dabo is perfect at doing that to teams. All right, last game on the board here before we close them out. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the GunzPicks channel here. Hit the thumbs up, hit the bell. All the content that comes on this channel. I do pick videos, I do lives, extra point show coming out tomorrow. Do the NFL with the Shark. Go check that out, and you can follow me on all social media platforms at GunzPicks on X, Instagram, and TikTok. So go check that out. I throw clips up there all the time. Of course, check out C-Mac Picks on X as well, and check out Hitting the Books. Go like and subscribe to that channel. Absolutely, him and Bobano just break down the card efficiently week to week and do an excellent job at doing that. They spend more time on this than I do, so go give them a like on this one. Of course, Justin Stacks joining us here, says Clemson minus 11.5 when I bet it. Yeah, go take that one. I can't talk you off of it. Like I said, I'm not playing it officially on this one. Of course, Peter Grasnia talking about, definitely he loves Wisconsin as well. He's going to take it at the 14. Love that play. All right, let's go. Last game on the board, the night game here is showing on the screen. Currently, we got Kansas. Short number here, going to Provo, Utah at night, which is usually dangerous territory for any team in the country. Number 6, BYU. Here's the thing about BYU. Magic underwear this team has every single week, narrowly escaping the Holy War last week. Highs of highs coming off a rivalry game. And then you have a Kansas team that just played to the level of their competition and continually their record is a little bit misleading, in my opinion, only losing by 6 points or less. And I think most of their losses this season. But I'll pass it to you, C-Mac. What do you have any thoughts on this game?
I'm off this game. BYU's been just money to me all year long. I haven't even lost with them. They're at night. This is where you want them. They played close games. Everyone wanted to fade them against Central Florida, right? They get win there. I had Kansas last week, and I loved them there, and it was a big win. And I think they continue to play well. They beat BYU last year, too, at home with Daniels at quarterback. I always have to look at that because he was in and out all the time. They won by 9. So I think BYU remembers that. As good as Kansas is playing, I think this game could be close. I just think Provo at night, it's them or nothing. I get why people want Kansas a little bit, like they're just the way they're playing, but I can't do it. And I have lingering things since the bye. They've been solid, but I remember that team that shit on me that played horrible in the second half and lost game after game after game, 5 straight weeks. Guns. So that's why there's no way I can take me. It's BYU or nothing.
Yeah, I listen. The game last year, you brought up the little revenge factor in there for the Cougars. They were 9.5
Mhm.
point dogs last year. Now you're seeing them as a favorite. I mean,
So
for
did they
good reason.
cover or push?
They did not
What was the
cover that
score?
game.
They lost by 11.
Yeah, it was 9.5, so they lost 38-27 in that game. Over and under in that one was 55 and a
Okay, yeah.
half. So yeah, they were 9.5 point dogs and they didn't cover in that one. That was at Kansas. So I mean, yeah, I have arguments on both sides here. I think this BYU team is just narrowly escaping left and right. That's why you're seeing the line so low. And they just have magic right now. The Mormon magic is just apparent with this team. You saw it last week playing on the road against Utah at night. A game they
That
should
was
have
not a
lost.
penalty. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was bad.
the refs did help them in that game, getting them the late field goal to seal the deal. And then Kansas, like I said, you look at their losses. I mean, they lost by 2, 4. They did lose by 11 to TCU, which was their largest loss, but they lost by 4 to West Virginia. They lost 3 to UNLV, and they lost by 6 to Illinois. So this team plays right up to the wire with a lot of these teams, but they've lost 2 out of their last 3. They're coming off a big win at home versus Iowa State. Tough spot. And I have arguments on both sides. As much as I want to take Kansas, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. BYU just has that magic right now, and I'm not sure when or where they're going to stop it. They have to go on the road to Arizona State next week, and then they got Houston at home. That's to finish the schedule. So could they be undefeated by this? It's likely. And I just didn't think BYU was going to be a good team this year, and they proved me wrong. So that sometimes this team just has too much magic, and it goes a little bit beyond the cap. So yeah, I have no interest in getting involved in this game whatsoever. It's just sit and watch. That's all I can say. But yeah, that's the card as we break it down. I'll pass it to you, C-Mac. Do you have any you looking at every single game, right? Is there games that you plays that you like today that you're like, oh yeah, this is my strongest play today?
No. I hate to say that, but I gave the San Jose State. I'll give this morning one because I just don't trust this team. And it was a devastating loss by Louisiana Tech to Jacksonville State last week. But this Louisiana Tech team hasn't lost by anybody more than 10 points. They play shitty teams. They play UTEP, New Mexico State, but so does Western Kentucky. This Western Kentucky team hasn't impressed me. They did early. This team was darlings. Great ATS, 6-2. They didn't cover last week. And I don't think they cover the 11.5 here. La Tech, Bullock, he's been able to move the rock. And I think they do it here. So La Tech, that's an early start. You're about 5 minutes. This kicks off or so. La take the 11 and lean over. I don't know if it gets there, but I think in a Western Kentucky game, I think there's going to be some points. As we saw at Louisiana Tech last week with Jacksonville State.
Yeah, I can't talk you off that. I actually looked at that game too. Probably I was trying to eye on the same side. I couldn't get there. I couldn't get to the window, as they say on that one. But yeah, I can't talk you off of that look at all. My favorite play in the garbage of all garbage, I guess in the crumbs type of game is JMU versus ODU. I love ODU today. I got it at +3 early. It's dropped. I +2.5 is on the board. The team's going to win outright. They just play exceptionally well at home. They're going against a JMU team that just has sucked on the road. They give up 27 points per game versus giving up 8 at home. This JMU team is just in a bad situational spot, in my opinion, and they're going against an ODU team that has just played so good at home. They're 5-1 ATS as the Dogs in 2023, 9-4 ATS versus conference opponents, 3-1 ATS after bye because this team is coming out off a bye as well. 17-9 ATS as a Dog since 2022 overall. So yeah, this ODU team is going to come out here thumping versus a JMU team that is already 0-2 straight up in ATS versus conference opponents on the road. So, yeah, we're going to see a lot of the same type of situation. And by the way, as a look ahead, take JMU next week versus App State in a revenge angle. Because they're play. So I think the spot is let's fade JMU this week, and then we're going to take them next week. That's probably the situation I'm going on this one.
I'm on it. I'm on the under as well in that game. I get 52, Absolutely. But I think that's a total struggle. Lower points. Yeah, Old Dominion. Taste it. Before we bounce in a minute, I didn't hear I see her wearing that hat. Tell me about Arkansas. Tell me about this team that's up and down. Tell me they're going to play well at home today. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I said it in the beginning of the show. I did talk about it a little bit, and what perplexes me, and it's only a lean, is why is Arkansas such a big dog versus Texas on this one when Sam Pittman has played so well as a home dog, and people just undervalue this Arkansas team. They were 4.5 point. I think their over and under on wins was 4.5, and they've already hit the over on that one. I think they're going to play this Texas team tough. Texas, who have they really played or beaten? Their biggest game of the year was Georgia, and they lost 30-15. I think this is a spot here for Arkansas and keeping this game close. Sam Pittman just at home as a dog. How are you going to fade that?
I agree. So the Tennessee win at home was huge. I take them at LSU. I don't know if you were on them, and they kind of got their ass kicked. I stayed off, and I thought there'd be some points. They get killed at home, though, to Ole Miss in that 63-31. But they are off the bye. I think that's kind of like the biggest thing that helps them here, Arkansas. Yep. And I'm just get the better Arkansas. They cover. This game's tight all the way. If not, they're old, and because hopefully that bye week defense was a priority, and it should be after you give up 63 fucking points, right, Guns? So they take care of that, then they're in it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. And as we hit the 12 o'clock hour, we're getting to the noon kickoffs. Make sure you like and subscribe to the GunzPicks channel, and hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, and follow on GunzPicks on social media platforms. But I'm going to give the floor to C-Mac. Thanks for joining me on the show this morning. As always, you are a regular, and you come with the smartest information on the planet, just like myself. This is the sharpest show on the planet. C-Mac, tell them where they can find you and throw some plays in there. You got the floor.
Just Connor Mac Picks. Go check it out. Hitting the books. Go subscribe, like the channel, and that's it. I gave you the 2. Take San Jose State tonight plus 14.5. Got a game there.
All right, I think I'm gonna jump on that one too.
There's gonna be points. Their defense is still gonna give it up, but I think they can move the ball, which against Boise, put up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point too. Both teams can score points. We may be seeing a little tit for tat in that game in the Mountain West, but that's going to do it here for Saturday mornings with GunzPicks. Let's just have ourselves a damn Saturday, shall we? Let's catch some tickets. Let's dominate the bowl. And as always, let's keep dancing. Bang!